I had a plan for today. I really did. Something that's been on my heart to talk to you about that I've seen and witnessed and really wanted to share with you. And then I realized that can wait because there is something even more pressing that's on my heart these days. And a lot of people might be in a similar situation. So, plan goes out the window. It's just me, straight from the heart. Let's start the meeting.
Whatever you're going through, you will get through it because you're here. And that means you are not alone. This is the Meaningful Meeting. Now your host, Ace Cannon.
So as I open every edition of the Meaningful Meeting, you know the deal. I'm just a guy that does podcasts and radio shows and that type of thing. I am not a therapist. I'm just a guy with some ideas about life. And most importantly, the thought that if something here helps you, that helps me. So before we get into this thing that's kind of been hanging around me for the past couple of days, I want to share with you something else because I appreciate when you respond, letting me know that something has touched you. And the last episode of the Meaningful Meeting was really important because my guest was Colleen Odegaard, journalist, author. She's a public speaker, a motivational speaker, life coach. But we got into great detail about her divorce, which is a difficult thing to go through. I haven't gone through it myself. It's brutal and such a great response. And I wanted to share one message that I got. I won't say who this is from. Hey, man, awesome podcast with Colleen today. My marriage has been over for 3 years now. No family to help, no friends. It was horrible. I wanted to die. There were a couple of things that helped me along the way. One of them is you. I put on the Ace and TJ podcast and my earbuds let it play all day while I worked every day. You helped me to not think about it. I also listened to Colleen's podcast. I heard about her divorce. I listened to her cry. I laughed when she said the F word. I grieved while listening to y'all. Just wanted you to know your life is something that saved me. I still listen to you now. It's the best part of my day. I want to thank you. That was sent by a member of the radio family on my birthday. That's why I'm just here talking about this stuff every week. I feel like a complainer, a moaner, or a crier, or whatever other emotion that I may feel when I'm sitting here doing this. But I hope it's because I hope instead of that feeling that it's you thinking that I'm just complaining about life or moaning. That's not the point. I try to leave you with something positive. I'm just sharing my experiences. Sometimes they're dark. Sometimes they're light. I don't know. Doing the best we can. But things like that mean the world to me. And if you have ideas or things you want to talk about, please tell me about them. Hey, why don't we talk about this? What about that? How do you handle this? What do you do with that? That kind of thing. 'Cause I've been through a lot of stuff in my life and still going through stuff. So that's why we're here. So I mentioned a minute ago, there was a plan. I spent quite a bit of time yesterday putting together some notes and some ideas for this week's edition of the Meaningful Meeting and ended up deciding this morning to just put it all aside because there's something else that's kind of been, it's been on my heart for a few days because I'm in this rare portion of the year that is really tough. And now anybody who's lost someone will understand this. It just so happens for me, all of these things come in a run over the course of the next couple of months. So for example, May 24th, last week, was my birthday. Roughly 3 weeks after that is Father's Day. Roughly 3 weeks after that is my daughter Peyton, who passed away now 3 years ago, will be her birthday on July 3rd. And roughly 3 weeks after that will be the 3rd anniversary of her death. While all of this is happening, I have a new baby on the way. New baby Dax, and my wife Amanda, they must remain the priority. So I'm in this weird kind of limbo thing. Now, here's the deal. I don't ever want to be that guy that just is down and depressed everything for the years and for the, I don't want my birthday to be a sad occasion every year because she's not there. I don't want Father's Day to be a sad occasion. I don't want her birthday to be a sad occasion. But admittedly, her birthday and especially the day that she died, those are the toughest two, by far. But I have this conflict, and I never know what's the right thing to do, what's the right thing to say. I walk a fine line of what to do and how to handle these moments. Do you post something? Do you not? It's a lot, especially when you spend so much of your time in the public eye. But it's hard because let's face it, there is a part of me. And if you ever lost a child, I think that's different than losing a parent. Because no matter what happens, you expect your parents to die before you do. You don't expect your child to die before you. It's brutal, man. It's brutal. I can't explain that because there's no way to explain it unless you've been through it. So it would be easy to kind of curl up and die, so to speak. Just curl up in a ball and close the door and hide your head under the covers and just hide out for a few days and just cry yourself to sleep all the time. That's the easy part. I just choose to do it a different way, or at least I've tried to. Obviously, I want to post something about or talk about how special she was and everything. I also want to share the fun side because those are the things that I remember, the things that made me laugh, the things that made my life better. And that's what I want everybody else to take from that. So I would hope that anybody else in the situation would remember. People say it all the time, but it's true. Think of the good times. Think of the things you cherish. While lost, you haven't lost those memories. So those are the things that I try to focus on. If I decide to make a post on social media, I try to post a couple of really good pictures of her, special pictures. Maybe I have a great picture that Amanda took on my birthday, 2020, which was my last birthday that I spent with her. Over Memorial Day weekend, they surprised me. We ended up me and Amanda and Peyton and Cade went to Hilton Head. For the weekend, we stayed at this little place. It was a last minute deal, and literally one bedroom, 2 bunk beds in what had been a closet in the hallway. So when you walk in the door, it's almost like a tiny house. Door open, walk in, bedroom on the right, and the bedroom was the 2 side tables were against the wall, and the bed crammed in between them, so everything touched all the way. 1 bathroom, 2 bunk beds on the left-hand side. Then 2 more steps, you're in the kitchen living area with a pull-out couch, and that was it. We were a couple streets off the beach. It didn't matter. We had a great time. Those are the things those are the things that I choose to go with. Yeah, the last photo I have of me and her together will always be sad, but it will always be special as well, because it is the last one. So while I'm sad that it's the last one and I think of all the things that could have been, I also have to remember, how special that makes it, because it was a really special night. Because if I'm not mistaken, the last photo I ever took with Peyton was on her 21st birthday. And it was a great night. Father's Day is a tough one. And again, here I am not wanting to be so down and sad because I've got Father's Day and I've got a new baby due the day before Father's Day. So while I'm sad I don't have Peyton there, I've got the joy of this new child that's coming. But then it makes me sad that, Peyton would love to be here for this because she was excited about the prospect of this happening. But then I got to remember that this baby deserves my full, undivided attention. So it's just got this, And then I remembered something that I said in a podcast a couple of years ago when I was talking about Peyton, and it hit me one day. People say, you got to move on. You got to move on. You got to keep moving. And if you follow the old Ace at Large podcast that became the Meaningful Meeting, perhaps you'll remember this, because it occurred to me one day, you don't have to move on. You don't move on. Because moving on, to me at least, means that you leave something behind. You move on from a bad relationship. You break up, you move on, you leave that behind you. You move on from a job that you had to another job. You move on from some type of setback that's occurred in your life. And you leave those things behind you. That's moving on. I choose to move forward. Because I'll never move anywhere. I'll never make another move a day in my life without her. because as I used to tell her when she was very little, I would say, "Where are you?" She would say, "Always in your heart." I'm not moving on anywhere. I'm moving forward. And I try to remember that because it's one of the things that I've stressed to people is that we continue to move forward in these situations. So as we go through, 3 remaining dates coming up: Father's Day, her birthday, her death day. I try to remind myself that I'm moving forward with life. Always bringing her with me, always in my heart, just like I promised her when she was little. And that to me makes all the difference in the world. And it's a little thing. It's one word that changes. We don't move on, we move forward. But it's an important thing. It's one little word. We don't move on, we move forward. That one word change lets everybody know you're not leaving that person behind. You're continuing on with your life, one foot in front of the other until you get somewhere, and you're bringing that person with you. Always in your heart. You move on from a breakup. You move on from a job and you leave it behind you. But you never leave that person you've lost behind. You don't stand still. You don't let it drag you down. But you don't move on either. You move forward. That's the thing I have to remind myself. That's the thing I hope you'll take from this more than anything else. I watch on my social media, I watch how other people handle these situations. There are a couple of different people who are members of the Ace and TJ radio show that always post about, a couple of them post about the loss of a child. And I see those things, and there's nothing wrong with however anyone chooses to do that. Some people choose to post a headstone or something like that. And that's totally fine because that's how they are processing this emotion, this information. I choose to post life. And I may have posted a picture of Peyton's headstone once, just, I don't know, because it was there, but in a series of photos that show life. I want people to see her as she was, living life. That smile, that fun, that's the thing that's most important. Now, that's the thing I'll miss the most, that ability to walk through the door and change the energy in a room that quick. That ability to take a bad day of mine and make it better just like that. I'm trying to show people or share with people the one thing that I miss most. That's hard. But again, that's moving forward. That's taking her with me. That's taking that spirit with me. That's allowing me to continue life without feeling guilty that I'm leaving her behind. Because here's the hard thing to remember. And I'll probably elaborate on this. This hit me one day. Every year, I was thinking about the fact that this is the 3rd anniversary of her death coming up. She would be 24 on her next birthday. And I look at all of these things and I think, every year she gets farther and farther away. Every year. That's a tough one. And that's what I was able to remind myself. I'm not moving on without her. I may physically every year be farther and farther away from the last time I saw her. But I've never left her because I'm moving forward. I'm not moving on. I'm not leaving her behind, always in my heart. And I know for me, that's been a game changer of an experience. That was that change in my mindset was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Because it made me feel better about living, if that makes any sense. Not that I wanted to die, but you feel guilty if you've ever experienced that. You feel guilt that you're continuing life and this person's not here to be a part of it. But they are, because she's always in my heart. She's not here physically. I get that. I understand that. I know. And it hurts more than anything you could ever imagine. But she is still a part of my life, and I'm not leaving her behind. I'm simply moving forward. And I move forward in an attempt to make her even more proud of me. So remember, you don't move on, you move forward. Always forward. One step at a time. And eventually you'll get there. I had something happen this week. I shared a little bit of it on the radio show, in case you missed it. It's kind of one of those crazy moments that has happened to me from time to time that are really kind of hard to put into words. But I hope I'll be able to do that, because it may have just helped me overcome a big hurdle in my life. Next.
There's more of the Meaningful Meeting next. Welcome back to the most important meeting of the week. The Radio Button presents the Meaningful Meeting with Ace.
So I had this experience in the past week that was really odd. Although I've had these experiences before, and maybe it's helped reinforce something in my life that I really think I need, but I'm really struggling with, to be honest with you. So I had been out for the day. I came in from the gym, and I needed to take a shower and get doing some other stuff, but I had a few minutes to kill. I was sitting down on a couch, grabbing something to eat, and I opened my phone. And you know when you open up your phone, if you open TikTok and it has I searched Amanda and Ace because I was going to look up and see how Amanda had a TikTok that was doing pretty well. And I was checking on it just to see how it was doing, because I like to keep with those things. She'd done this one all by herself, and it was great. And in doing so, when it pops up, there was a video there, a TikTok, that she posted a couple of years ago as a little tribute to Peyton. Now, I can't play you much of this, but I can play you a second of it so you can hear. Many of you who've been on TikTok will know this exact. And so Amanda had posted this beautiful video a couple of years ago, dedicated to Peyton, with these great pictures of them together and that kind of stuff. You get the idea. And so I collapsed. I'm sitting alone on the couch in my living room, and I am weeping. Weeping to the point where I just took a pillow and covered my face in the pillow, because tears are streaming down my face. And I watched it again because I'm a sucker for punishment. And then I realized, look, man, I got a pregnant wife upstairs. I got to get going. She was upstairs. She'd been busy all day, was kind of taking a rest, because when you're pregnant, you just get worn out sometimes. And she was resting, watching a movie. And I thought, I need to pull this together, get in the shower. Don't let her know that you're upset or anything like that. So I really try to avoid that, because this is an exciting time for us. And I know that she understands how difficult this time of year is for me. She's incredibly understanding about that. But I don't want, I don't want this to weigh down on her or Dax or any of that, because there's someone I need to be for them also. You know what I mean? And so I walked into our bedroom, opened the bedroom door and walked in. And as I glanced to my right, she's in tears. And she's watching a movie, so I just said, I'm going to take a shower. And I kind of eased right through into the bathroom. I didn't want to bother her because she's obviously locked into this movie. It's like, man, she must be watching a sad movie. And I go in, I have this little chair that sits in my side of the closet, and I was taking my shoes off and everything, and I'm just trying to still kind of, take a deep breath, compose yourself, don't let her see your eyes are red, blah, blah, blah. And after about 30 seconds, the door to the bathroom opens and she walks in, and she is crying. And I kind of turned and said, are you okay? And she said, I'm so sorry that Peyton is not here. And I said, what? I just watched this movie. I think it's called A Son, or About a Son. It was on Netflix. It's about a teenager who dies. And she said, I just can't imagine. And it made me feel like I need to come in here and just hug you and tell you how sorry I am. And I fell apart at that moment. It's like all of the energy I'd spent trying to contain this emotion inside of me, to be a good husband and father to be again, and all this. It was like, in this moment, it was all wound up, and suddenly it gave me the freedom to just exhale. And I just hugged her and cried my eyes out. Cried. Like hard cry. Harder than before. And I just told her, I'm sorry I'm crying. She was like, no, something told me to come in here and never be sorry. She's just the best about that sort of thing. And a few minutes later, after things kind of settled down, we got to talking about it. And there was something about it that just made her, in that moment, feel like she needed to come to me and tell me that. Some would say it's coincidence. Some would say it's God. And in a way, I think that maybe God letting me know, I hadn't forgotten about you, man. I'm here. Because I sure as hell feel like it many times. I'm a bitter, I don't know. I hate to say this because I hate to be this way, but I'm a pretty bitter person at a lot of people. And one of them, I've been pretty bitter at God from time to time. Lately. Over some things that have gone on in my life that I don't understand why my life has had to be this hard. And I know people have it harder, and it makes me feel like a complainer, and I can shut up and I can go on and on. But I saw this quote the other day, and it just reminded me of something. I don't know. I think several things. I do think, in a way, that's God trying to tell me, like, hey, man, I'm still here. And afterwards, it kind of reinforced and made me feel like I do have a good life. My life's going to get better. I know it is. Dax is coming, and Amanda's happy, and everybody's excited. And it's almost like I needed that release that I'd been kind of holding in. This was the day after my birthday. My birthday it's tough, man. It's tough when she's not there for those big days, It's awesome that this group of 4 friends, 3 of the 4 made it to have dinner with us for my birthday. One couldn't make it because of her work schedule, but she called to tell me that she couldn't make it and that she loved me. And that, you have no idea what that means to me, because that's another little part of her that we get to have around a little bit longer, I love those girls. They're the best. But I'd kept it all together, And then I had that moment, and I thought, I need to pull it back together again. And then it's like God knew this is what I needed. And I had this moment, and then I fought it off. And then he really allowed me to have the moment again. When Amanda just felt like something tells me to come in and hug you and talk to you about this movie that I just saw. I said, I can't imagine what you're feeling and experiencing. And then I was able to get it out there. And I felt better afterwards. I reminded myself that we're moving forward. We're not moving on. I'm sure it's going to happen again. And I feel like I'm kind of rambling in this story, but I hope you understand the point that I'm trying to make is that, I don't know, sometimes you got to listen to those things. I'm not good at that. I struggle with that. Sometimes you got to listen to that voice that tells you it's, you need to listen to that emotion, listen to that, what your body's telling you, kind of lean into that sort of thing. You just need that sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And then maybe that was God's way of reminding me, a lot of the things you think they're not true. I'm here. Things are going to get better. Hang with me. And I saw this quote the other day. And it says, we are not all in the same boat. We are in the same storm. Some have yachts, some have canoes, and some are drowning. Just be kind. Help when you can. I think the name is Dameen Barr, Dameenbarr. And I thought, wow, I love that. We're not in the same boat. We're in the same storm. We just have different size vehicles, yachts, canoes, drowning, whatever. It reminded me of why it is that we do this, why I share all this stuff with you, why I make myself look like an idiot, crybaby, and all these other things that I think of myself from time to time. And it's all about the fact that maybe if you get something out of it positive, that it helps me in some way. And then you'll go do that for someone else. And that out of all of this, the things that I've been through in my life, and specifically my daughter's death, some way her legacy carries on. Some of the great things that she was going to do with her life, that she wanted to do with her life, that she was interested in doing with her life. Maybe through some of that, some of it helps you, and you help someone else, and they help someone else. And all along the way, everybody carries a little bit of her with you. Because remember, one day you will tell your story of how you've overcome what you're going through now, and it will become part of someone else's survival guide. I really hope so. But I really hope it becomes not part of your survival guide, it becomes part of your living guide. I don't want you to survive. I want you to live, smile, be better. And remember, you're not moving on, you're moving forward.
Now, whatever you're going through, you're not alone. You are a part of the Meaningful Meeting, presented by the Radio Network. Copyright ATJ Inc. 2022.